It's my favorite hoodie. I wear this hoodie into the ground because I love it so much. Okay. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about Cloud 9. Cloud 9 is a 2014 Disney Channel original movie about a girl named Kayla who finds out she's not as good at snowboarding as she thought she was and was made to believe, and she decides to change that. It's directed by Paul Hoen, cinematography by Suki Medencevic, it's something like that. Editing by Girish, Bhargava, music by Alex Werman, and is written by Justin Ware. The film stars Dove Cameron as Kayla, Luke Benward as Will, Patrick Fabian as Richard, Carlon Jeffrey as Dink, Andrew Lewis Caldwell as Sam, and Mike Manning as Nick. They filmed mostly at ski resorts in Utah, and it was pretty well received. People said it was pleasant. The cinematography was fine. I feel like a lot of stuff was out of focus, which I feel like happens a lot with DCOMs that are shot on location. And then the effects of her crashing through the sign toward the beginning were really bad. Like, that's some of the worst effects I've seen in a while from a DCOM. Alright, the practice of snowboarding and the falling in love montage was a little silly, but by the end it did get me, and I think it's because their chemistry finally started coming out. And then the scene of Kayla going down Tyson's Peak I was so stressed, so I just wanted to shout out the editor for that. So I thought this was going to be a musical because there are a bunch of songs on the soundtrack that are by Luke Benward and Dove Cameron, and then I realized they're just like non-diegetic songs that happen during different points of the movie. You know, like when you have, you know, famous songs in any of these Disney movies, when there's like an Alien AJ song or something, or any of that, it's like that. So that was kind of nice, because I don't know if this movie would have played well as a musical, to be honest with you. The score during the Tyson's Peak scene was so excellent. I was actually very surprised at how intense and really well that music played there. And then the song that was playing during, like, the first initial Cloud 9 training was really good as well. And then the frickin' One Girl Revolution song from Cadet Kelly is in this movie, and they play it quietly and not for a long time, expecting you not to notice that this song was in Cadet Kelly, but it is. I'm a One Girl Revolution. I was shocked when that song started. I was like, oh my god, not them? Not them using the Cadet Kelly song. We stand. If I were to paraphrase this, it's about a rich daddy's girl snowboarder, and how everyone blows smoke up her butt about how good she is, and like things are rigged in her favor, and she finds out that's not the case, and she's actually not that good at snowboarding at all. She just like can, kinda, which is insane, by the way. This many people lying to her about this is so, and for what reason, is so insane. You've got the head of the Swift Gear team like having her on the team to make the ski resort owner happy, and then rigging it so she wins to keep the ski resort owner happy. The ski resort owner, knowing that that guy's rigging it, and knowing like he wouldn't have cared if she won or lost, but sees how much she's loving winning, so he just lets it keep going. So messed up. Her boyfriend lying to her about how good she is on snowboarding and like going with it. Absolutely so diabolical. Like, that is so terrible. That many people, like, it's one thing for someone not wanting to hurt her feelings and be like, yeah, you're pretty good. But to just outright be like, no, you're the greatest girl snowboarder in this region because you keep winning these competitions that I've rigged for you. Absolutely so mean and not the right thing to do. And shame on all of them for that. However, she is kind of snooty at the beginning, and there's just a lot going on in this that's like, what the heck is happening? But I will say, the first half of this is very painful cringe Disney. It's the stuff that is like treating kids like they're not intelligent. Like, I feel like Disney used to make stuff for, like, I feel like ages, yeah, they have the stuff that's for, like, you know, 10 and under. But then I always feel like they were making stuff for, like, 10 to, I'm gonna be honest with you, 17. Yeah, okay, when you're 15, 16, 17, you might start watching things like on other networks, like all the, like Smallville or Hellcats or The OC or One Tree Hill or whatever, you know, all those shows. I don't know what the equivalent is today because you have streaming services, so I'm now Stranger Things and they just, whatever. But at this time, you know, I just feel like they used to make stuff that kids could genuinely relate to, and it was real. Don't get me wrong, they definitely had duds, let's be very honest, and stuff that was really cringy. But now I feel like so much of their stuff are all these people playing up this, like, version of a person for kids. Like, kids. To make it entertaining. Instead of, like, for people, like, 13 or 14 who just want to see themselves in media. You know what I mean? Like, no one's acting like that. So the first half of this is really cringe because no one is, like, real, if that makes sense. They're all, like, caricatures, stereotypes. Like, she's rich daddy's girl who's so perfect at everything and wants her boyfriend and popular and blah, blah, blah. And there's, like, no depth to her at first. So what can Dove Cameron do with that? Other than seem cringy because she's playing a caricature of a person who's one-dimensional. And same with the boyfriend, like, he seems nice, but you can tell something's up there. And then his dad is, like, the evil, mean dad, and, like, Luke Benward is the, like, I'm not snowboarding ever again person. Like, everybody's kind of one-dimensional in the first half of this movie, so it's cringy. It's like, oh my god, I can't deal with this, because she's over here, like, I'm the best snowboarder, and this, that, and, like, yes, there are people that get like that, but, like, everybody's got more than that to them, and I don't know. Anyway, and I get everyone's got to learn a lesson, like, that's what makes a movie interesting, is the main character learns something, but, like, we used to have likable characters still learn a lesson, you know what I mean? So, like, this movie starts, and she's very unlikable. I'm like, why, everyone's unlikable except maybe Will, but he's still kind of bratty, you know? And then, in the second half, everybody gets dimension. Everybody gets something. Will is dealing with, like, coaching and wanting to come back to maybe snowboarding, but the fear because he had a near-death experience. Kayla is dealing with the reality that all these people were lying to her, and she was set up, and she got kicked off this team, and she's pushing herself to be better at snowboarding and wants to push and do great things, and she's got and, like, dealing with, like, her father not thinking she can do it, and all these people being like, oh, she had this all handed to her, and this, that, and the other, and it's, like, that's interesting. They all become more interesting, it all becomes more believable, it all becomes better in the second half because they're all real people then. In the first half, it's like, oh god, what do we do? Like, oh no, she's acting like this, and it's like, you know, they add campy things, like she's got the two best friends, one of them doesn't speak and only texts, and it's like, okay, that's fine, I guess. It's just, I don't know, I'm glad that the second half happens, because it was a much better movie by the second half of this. But the first half is painful. I genuinely thought I was, like, not going to enjoy this movie at all, and be like, what are we doing? We used to make movies, or get movies, like, Double Teamed and Color of Friendship. You know, where they're dealing with, like, okay, Double Teamed isn't a heavy topic, but, like, it's a very real, like, the sisters get injured, and, like, all that kind of stuff, and then, like, The Color of Friendship, are we kidding? Like, what the heck? And then, yeah, there's stuff like High School Musical, which is a musical about, you know, basketball and musicals and science, but, like, it's a very real story about kids wanting to fit in, but also do what they like, you know, like, don't get me wrong, there's also cringe in High School Musical, but you're understanding what I'm saying. Like, there's always been some kind of, like, okay, like, camp to these, but it's getting to, like, no one, like, yeah, there are people that care about those things, like, there are rich girls, like, the stereotype is a stereotype for a reason, there are rich daddy's girls who have everything handed to them, but, like, that's still a person who deals with stuff, and I hate, like, the caricature is so forced, and like, it just feels right. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, she gets kicked off the team because they framed her for going through this sled thing or whatever. And then Nick breaks up with her and starts dating some other better snowboarding girl. Nick is really mean, and then she convinces Will to help her. My biggest qualm with this is she's like, we're going to do a trade. I'm going to jazz up your dog kennel, and you're going to train me in snowboarding. I don't think... Okay, that's not equivalent. Let's be real. And then what she does to the dog kennel... I'm not so sure on that one. There's like salon chairs, and it's like, this is a dog kennel. What are we doing? Anyway, the dad apology to her at the end was fantastic. Nick has a no dad, it's your dream moment with his dad, which is obviously very stereotypical, very a huge trope. No dad, I'm throwing away yours. But the way that came about, I actually love. Richard is apologizing to Kayla and is like, I'm so sorry. I really, like, you deserved better of me about believing you to this. I'm sorry I lied about how good you were before. Just like a really great apology, heart-to-heart moment before she goes and does her last run. He hugs her. It's beautiful. Nick's dad goes, oh, look at this mushy stuff. It's going to throw her off her game. She's going to get up there and feel comfortable and not, you know, she's going to not do as well. And what I love is Nick goes, what, a dad showing affection to his daughter's a bad thing? Literally incredible. And the dad's like, you know what I mean, I'm not a big person of, like, overly praising. And Nick goes, what about any praise at all? Snaps. And then that leads into, like, everything I've done, like, the dad is like, everything I've done, I've been doing so you can accomplish your dream. And then it's like, it's not my dream, it's yours. So it's that, but the lead-in of, like, what, a dad showing his daughter affection is something to be frowned upon or whatever. So good. I was shocked by that. Loved that lesson. And then him, like, coming clean and everything was really great, too. And then she throws the Cloud 9, which is great. My biggest complaint, plot-wise, besides, like, the first half being kind of cringe and everything, is Will doesn't get a chance to redeem his Cloud 9. I know he places second, which is really great for being a year off. I didn't expect him to win. Like, of course, I think him placing second after taking a year off and coming from an injury is really great. And then with more training, he'd do better. And I am totally on board with her throwing the Cloud 9 and being the first person to land it in, like, competition. Totally on board with that. I was just hoping he would, like, also get that redemption because they make such a big deal about how, like, he came up with this. It's literally called the Cloud 9. His last name is Cloud. He came up with it. He invented the move. And he hurt himself in a competition and, like, was near death. You know, he almost died. And so I kind of wanted for him, like, even if it wasn't in competition, I was hoping he'd be able to throw the Cloud 9 successfully and, like, have that moment for him. So that was my most, like, disappointment by the end. But, like, that's not a huge disappointment. I'm still satisfied with, like, the growth everybody did. But, like, I kind of was hoping for that. So anyway, I'm getting nitpicky because, like, there were good elements to this. And it's a pretty decent movie. And Luke and Dove's chemistry by the end is so good. Very for them. It's just, like, I'm disappointed in this, like, trend that Disney has been having of making everything so caricature. Like, it's not real. Like, no one's dealing, like, I don't know. Anyway. Patrick Fabian being in this and not being evil is actually insane, but the guy who plays Nick's dad being evil, he's also always evil, so I'm like, did they just cast both? And we're like, uh-oh. Because Patrick Fabian is always an evil person. So for him to just be, like, the dad in this, I was like, okay, Patrick Fabian, good for you. You're not an evil person. But the guy who plays the, like, evil dad, hilarious, because he is also always evil, I feel like, and is always that character. Luke looks so old. I don't know if he's in more movies after this, but I'm genuinely like, dude, you look 20 years old. And they were, like, had one scene in a high school, so I'm like, what are we doing? You're supposed to be a kid? Like, I can't. And then I've already mentioned it, but Dove and Luke's chemistry was very good. Favorite favorite part is probably Kayla winning and Nick telling off his dad, and the way that came about. That was really satisfying. Kayla throwing the Cloud9, Will being proud of her, and also winning and having that little redemption. My least favorite part, the beginning, like the whole first half where it was super cringy, the representation of a kennel. I work in a kennel, absolutely not. And then Will not getting to do the Cloud9. I really kind of wanted that. They really made such a big deal about it. So I was kind of disappointed we didn't get to see him do it. That made me sad. Recommend? I guess. I don't feel particularly strongly. I don't think, like, it's really good. I don't think it's really bad. Like, it's pretty decent decom, especially for one I've never seen. It's the first thing also I've seen Dev Cameron in. I know she was in a show where she's like a twin or something. And then I know she was really close with the boy that passed, tragically. And then I know she's in, like, Descendants or Zombies or something. One of the bigger, right? Isn't she? Maybe not. I don't know. Watch again? Probably not. I would probably not revisit this. It's fine. I just can't deal with the first chunk of it where, like, everyone is so fake. Like, it's painful. Like, it feels like no one can act, and then they get, like, something of actual substance, and I'm like, oh, everyone actually can act in this movie. It was just bad stuff. But yeah, specific moments. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but, like, I miss when characters were likable and just, like, had a lesson to learn. You know, like Marnie in Halloween Town, or the Cheetah Girls. We love everyone in the Cheetah Girls, but they all have lessons to learn, right? Like, no one's inherently awful or coming off so terrible. And, you know, in The Color of Friendship, the girl's a victim of her circumstance. She has no idea. And she's still lovely and nice. She just, like, is scared and has to learn and does. And Xenon's a very likable character, and she's got a lot of lessons to learn. Like, I feel like character, like, they take it and make it like someone who you don't want to root for, almost. And, like, there's got to be something there that you can root for. You know what I mean? I'm all about, like, people redemption and all that good stuff, but it's, if there's nothing that I'm hoping for, like, you know, I don't know. The dog kennel, I was glad to have the dog kennel. Buford and Donald were the best. I love a good bloodhound. So handsome. And then I felt Kayla was being a little bit insensitive about Will's near-death experience. She was very much like, why is this still holding you back? Get out here and get on the snow. We can see how happy you are out here. And, like, he needed encouragement to get back on the snow, of course, but, like, she started to be very much like, what's holding you up? And it's like, he had a near-death experience as a teen on a move he created. Like, that takes some work. That is traumatic, dude. He's gonna have some PTSD getting back on the snow. Like, give him a... My God, I know he needed, like, pushing and encouragement, but, like, she started to be really insensitive. Because she started to be like, it was a freak accident. What are the chances it's gonna happen again? And it's like, well, actually, the chances of getting hurt in snowboarding are really big. So I don't... Whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I already stood on my soapbox about him not getting to do the Cloud9, which is what I wanted. Anyway, that's it. Alright, that's it. My final rating for Cloud9 is going to be 5 snowboards out of 10. Like I said, I don't feel particularly strongly in one direction. I know I went on, like, a tangent here, but I feel like it's because it had potential. It had really good bits, but it's not, like, bad. But it's not great. You know what I mean? So it's 5 snowboards out of 10. Our total movie count is... They don't mention her mother. Oh, she has a mom. Right. And they don't mention Will's dad. And they don't mention Nick's mom. So no parent deaths. Parent death toll and cry count are still the same. If you want to keep up with the movie I'm watching when, follow me on all socials. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1. You get every video a week early, a coupon code for merch, and exclusive merch access. Tiers above that, you get daily trivia, monthly postcards, and some bonus content. I just did, like, a unboxing of the D23 Gold membership. I filmed, like, Frozen, like, a month ago, whenever you're seeing this. The Frozen video with Brie, I actually had filmed a whole solo video by myself where I was, like, crying, and then I found out Brie wanted to be in the Frozen video, so we refilmed. And so the one without Brie is on Patreon in the bonus content. And then I also had something else on there. Oh, I made predictions about what I think my top 10 best and worst will be next year without seeing half the movies. So go check out Patreon. And then high tiers, you can get like merch signed by me and free merch every time there's a new design and, you know, all that good stuff. So go check it out. Buy merch, actually. Buy merch. This is my favorite. I cannot express this to you enough. I have worn this hoodie into the freaking ground. It is by far and away my favorite. The black hoodie. Don't be blank about it. I love it. I have a second one, but it's got a tear right here that I have to sew, and I just undone it. It's newer, so I just keep wearing my old one. Anyway, until next time, comment, like, subscribe, but I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so do you, and don't be Nick's dad about it.